Hey guys, Chris here with Next Level Ministry. I want to tell you about a story I read, A Million Miles in 1,000 Years by Don Miller. In that story, he's talking about how he learned how to really write a book and kind of craft a story that people would want to read, that they'd want to hear about. Part of it, he talks about a friend of his who has this 14-year-old daughter. And his daughter is dating this disaster, something you would never want your daughter to date. 17 years old, a couple years older than her. He's into drugs, staying out late, they're sneaking out, all sorts of stuff. So him and Don are sitting there having a coffee, and he's like, how are things going? And he laments about kind of this situation he's in with his daughter. And then he asks Don, well, how are things going in your world? And Don talks about how he's learning about crafting a story and how he found out that some of what he was writing is just simply something no one would want to read. And the thing is this book is actually that he's writing is an autobiography of sorts. So he kind of realized that his life story wasn't a story worth telling. He wasn't living an adventure worth reading. Anyways, they separate ways for a couple of months, and they come back together, and they're having coffee again. And Don is like, hey man, how are things going with your daughter? And he's like, amazing. After we met, everything changed. You see, I realized that my 14-year-old girl, she was living the best story that was available to her. And so I went home and I found a place in a third world country that needed a school built for these kids. And so I sat my daughter down and I sat my wife down and I said, we're doing this. We're going to build this school. And they're like, how? Why? There was some friction, but a couple weeks later, his daughter came back to him and said, hey Dad, for spring break, can we go down there? I want to take some pictures. That way we can show on social media some of the different things and raise some money for the school that we're going to build. And then just over the next couple of weeks, things changed. She broke up with the boyfriend. She got consumed with this amazing adventure of making a difference in that third world country. And she started to live a better story. You see, in ministry, as ministry leaders, we have to connect people with that great story, the adventure of God's will for their life. A lot of times in ministry, we're focused on kind of the church says this, or morality says that, before we connect them with the greater picture. They have to know the bigger why, the amazing adventure of allowing God to author the story, or as they say in that country song, allowing Jesus to take the wheel. It takes them to new places. So in all we do in ministry, let's start with that. Let's allow them to get connected to a better story, because a lot of them are living the best story that they have available to them right now. But Jesus has a better way. Thank you so much, and keep doing amazing things in ministry.